You probably think you've got Nevada all figured out. The glittering lights of Las Vegas, the vast desert stretching endlessly under the sun, and of course that irresistible promise of no state income tax. For years, it was marketed as the ultimate financial escape, the place where you could stretch your dollar, build equity, and live large without breaking the bank. But here's the truth. That was the sales pitch, not the reality. When we pulled the real numbers for mid-2025, what we uncovered wasn't just concerning, it was catastrophic. Nevada's housing market isn't cooling off, it's burning down. The state that once symbolized opportunity is now flashing red lights across the board. Home equity, the wealth families spent entire decades building, is disintegrating before their eyes. Not slowly, not over years, but in mere months. It's like watching a $1 million sandcastle get swallowed by a relentless tide. The waves keep coming, and no one can stop them. And make no mistake, this isn't just another market correction. In certain parts of Nevada, what's happening right now qualifies as a full-blown housing crisis, one that most people still haven't noticed because it's hiding in plain sight behind the neon glow and desert sunsets. So buckle up, because today, we're hitting the road and exposing the 10 Nevada cities where the bottom is falling out fast. Go ahead and hit that like button if you're tired of the sugar-coated headlines. And make sure to subscribe, because what you're about to see might just change how you think about the Silver State forever. Number 10. Elko, Nevada. Step off Interstate 80 and you can feel the shift instantly. The air is thinner, drier, tinged with the scent of sagebrush and industry. Welcome to Elko, a town that's lived and breathed one thing for generations: gold. This city's entire heartbeat has pulsed to the rhythm of the mining industry, and for a long time, that narrow focus made plenty of people rich. But here's the problem. When your entire local economy is built on a single commodity, you're not building stability. You're rolling dice. And lately, the odds are turning against Elko. According to housing data from mid-2025, the market is showing unmistakable signs of strain. Redfin reports that median home prices have fallen about 6% year over year. Now, 6% might not sound catastrophic on the surface, but in a town so deeply tied to a single industry, it's a flashing red warning light. Think of it as the canary in the coal mine, or in this case, the gold mine. Homes are also taking much longer to sell. The average days on market have jumped by nearly 2 weeks compared to last year, signaling slowing demand and nervous buyers. And here's the real danger. Elko's housing market doesn't move on its own. It moves with the mines. One corporate downsizing, one drop in global gold prices, and suddenly hundreds, even thousands of jobs disappear overnight, flooding the market with homes from families who can't afford to stay. Buying a house here isn't just a real estate purchase. It's a speculative investment in a volatile industry. That cozy 3-bedroom ranch might feel like a safe bet, but make no mistake, it's just as vulnerable as the gold that props up its value. For the hard-working families who've built their lives here, it's a harsh reality. Elko's prosperity is only as strong as the next commodity cycle. The data is sounding the alarm. So the question becomes, when you buy into a one-trick economy, are you making a smart investment or falling for fool's gold? Number 9. Mesquite, Nevada. Drive south from the high desert and watch as the rugged sagebrush fades into palm trees and manicured greens. Welcome to Mesquite, a postcard-perfect retirement haven straddling the Arizona border. For decades, it's been marketed as the dream destination, the peaceful reward at the end of a long career, where the toughest decision of your day is whether to golf before or after lunch. But in 2025, that dream is starting to show deep cracks. Beneath the calm facade, Mesquite's housing market is quietly unraveling. The city's entire real estate ecosystem depends on a single assumption: that a steady stream of retirees will keep moving in, ready to buy their slice of desert serenity. But what happens when that stream slows to a trickle? According to Zillow's mid-2025 housing data, median home prices in Mesquite have fallen nearly 8% year over year. On paper, that's troubling. But the real red flag isn't the price, it's the inventory. Local real estate data reveals that the number of homes for sale has doubled in just the past year. Doubled. It's a mass exodus in slow motion. Longtime residents are cashing out, downsizing, moving into assisted living, or sadly leaving behind estates to sell. But the wave of new buyers that once replaced them? It's evaporating. Homes that used to sell within a month are now sitting on the market for 90 days or more, collecting dust and price cuts. The silence in Mesquite's pristine cul-de-sacs isn't tranquility anymore. It's the sound of a market gasping for air. This is demographic risk in real time. Like Elko's dependence on gold, Mesquite depends entirely on a single demographic: retirees with money to spend. And in an economy where inflation, medical costs, and uncertainty are draining retirement accounts, that demographic is shrinking fast. So here's the question every investor and homeowner should be asking. What happens to a retirement town when the retirees stop coming? Because in Mesquite, the forever home dream is starting to look a lot more temporary. Number 8. Sparks, Nevada. Head west and watch the boundary blur. One minute you're in Reno, and the next, you've slipped quietly into Sparks. The two cities are so intertwined they almost breathe the same air. For years, Sparks was the sensible choice, Reno's more affordable blue-collar counterpart. When tech companies and waves of Californians poured into Reno, driving home prices sky-high, Sparks became the escape hatch, the place where regular buyers could still grab a piece of the dream. But here's the problem with being the pressure valve for someone else's boom. You're also the first to blow when the system fails. And right now, Sparks is losing pressure fast. The mid-2025 data from the Reno Sparks Association of Realtors paints a brutal picture. Housing inventory has surged more than 60% year over year. Think about that. For every 10 homes listed last summer, there are now 16 competing for attention. And when supply floods the market, prices sink fast. Zillow's latest numbers show the median home price in Sparks has dropped nearly 10%, one of the steepest declines in Nevada. The city's affordable alternative status used to be its greatest strength, but it's also its Achilles heel. Sparks never truly had its own economic identity. Its success was tethered to Reno's. So when Reno's tech-fueled housing frenzy started to collapse, Sparks was dragged down right alongside it. Now, the same families who stretched their budgets to get in early, betting on the next Silicon Valley in the desert story, are finding themselves stuck with properties worth tens of thousands less than what they paid. Sparks isn't crashing because of what it built. It's crashing because of what it borrowed. Its market was a shadow of Reno's prosperity, and now that shadow is lengthening into something darker. So here's the hard question. In a housing downturn, is it safer to be at the heart of the bubble or just outside it, living off its fumes? Because in Sparks, that affordable alternative is looking more like collateral damage in Nevada's great housing hangover. Number 7. Carson City, Nevada. As you drive south from the noise and neon of Reno and Sparks, the world seems to exhale. The traffic thins, the casinos fade into the rearview mirror, and the desert horizon stretches wide and still. When you roll into Carson City, Nevada's state capital, the change in energy is striking. No tech campuses, no mega resorts, just quiet streets, historic government buildings, and neighborhoods that seem frozen in time. For decades, Carson City carried a reputation as the safe bet, the place where nothing wild ever happened, a stable, government-driven market where housing values might not soar, but they'd never crash either. But that comforting myth? It's unraveling fast. According to Sierra Nevada Realtors' mid-2025 report, Carson City's median home price has plunged 12% year over year. That's not a gentle dip, that's a full-on slide. The kind of drop you'd expect from a speculative bubble city, not a slow and steady government town. And the reason is almost poetic in its irony. The very thing that made Carson City feel safe, its reliance on government employment, is now what's holding it back. Those stable jobs create a floor for the economy, sure, but they also create a ceiling. There's no private sector surge here to balance the pain when the broader market turns south. When Nevada's economy slows, the ripple doesn't skip Carson City. It just arrives quieter, slower, and deeper. The inventory is climbing, homes are sitting longer on the market, and that sense of security that drew buyers in is slipping through their fingers. This isn't the pop of a housing bubble. It's something more unnerving, a slow erosion of trust in a market that was supposed to be unshakable. The families who live here, the state workers, the clerks, the teachers, the administrators, didn't buy into Carson City for speculation. They bought for stability. And now, that stability is proving to be an illusion. So maybe it's time to ask the hard question. Is the idea of a safe government town just a comforting bedtime story we tell ourselves? One that doesn't hold up when the tide finally goes out? Let me know what you think. Because in Carson City, the myth of safety might be the next thing to collapse. Number 6. Pahrump, Nevada. Leaving behind the neat, tree-lined calm of Carson City, you push westward into the Mojave Desert, where the horizon flattens and the world feels wider, harsher, and far less forgiving. This is Pahrump, a place that built its identity around one idea: complete independence. No HOAS, no city noise, no rules, just you, your land, and the desert sky. During the pandemic, that philosophy was magnetic. Pahrump became the dream destination for anyone who wanted to escape city chaos, a frontier for modern-day outlaws and off-grid dreamers. The result was a feeding frenzy. Land with a private well was worth its weight in gold, and prices exploded as buyers from California and beyond rushed to claim their piece of freedom. But that gold rush is over. And the hangover? It's brutal. According to Redfin's mid-2025 data, median home prices in the Pahrump Valley have collapsed by 15% year-over-year, erasing nearly every bit of profit made during the pandemic boom. The market didn't cool down, it froze solid. What once looked like a land rush now feels like a fire sale. Why? Because the dreamers left. The remote workers who fueled the buying spree were called back to offices. The city refugees who swore they'd never go back suddenly missed paved roads, short commutes, and grocery stores that weren't an hour away. The romantic fantasy of desert freedom lost its shine and its Wi-Fi signal. Now the market is drowning in unsold homes. Inventory has doubled, according to local MLS reports, and properties that would have sparked bidding wars in 2022 now sit untouched for months, their listings quietly gathering dust and price cuts. What was once marketed as rugged self-reliance has curdled into lonely isolation. The dream of escaping the system has turned into the reality of being stuck in a place no one's buying into anymore. So, for everyone who's ever fantasized about cashing out, going off-grid, and living free, does Pahrump's painful wake-up call make you think twice? Number 5. Fernley, Nevada. You point your car east again, following the long, sunburned stretch of highway that cuts through the Nevada desert. This is Fernley, a town built not around opportunity but around escape. It's the last outpost for families who couldn't afford Reno or Sparks, a place where the promise was simple. If you can't buy closer to work, just drive until you qualify. For years, that trade-off made sense, a longer commute for a smaller mortgage. But in 2025, that deal has gone sour, and Fernley is paying the price. According to Zillow's second quarter 2025 data, home values here have plunged 18% year over year. That's not a dip, that's a crash. A fifth of your home's value gone in just 12 months. It's the kind of hit that wipes out savings, equity, and confidence all at once. The logic that once made Fernley appealing, live cheap, drive far, only works when the city's economy is roaring. But Reno's tech and construction sectors have slowed to a crawl, and now Fernley's residents are trapped in the fallout. They're shelling out hundreds of dollars a month on gas, commuting to jobs that feel less secure than ever, only to return each night to homes that are sinking in value. The local MLS paints an even grimmer picture. Listings have nearly doubled in the past year. Every homeowner who isn't underwater yet is racing to sell before the market slides further. But with so many properties flooding the market, they're just sitting there, waiting, hoping, watching prices drop week by week. This is what the dark side of affordability looks like. When cities get too expensive, people push farther and farther out until they hit the edge, literally. Out here, in the desert fringe, one weak economy or one spike in gas prices can collapse the whole illusion of stability. Fernley was supposed to be the last stop before the dream ended. Now it's becoming the first casualty in Nevada's unfolding housing nightmare. So what do you think? Is the era of the super commuter suburb finally dead? Or will people keep driving deeper into the desert, chasing a dream that's already evaporating? Number 4. North Las Vegas, Nevada. You finally roll into North Las Vegas, and what stretches out before you is staggering. a vast, endless sea of beige stucco and asphalt. Rows upon rows of identical homes shimmer under the desert sun, each one a carbon copy of the last. This isn't a city that evolved naturally over decades. It's one that was manufactured, assembled from spreadsheets and speculation. Developers here bet everything on a single assumption: that the flood of California migrants would never stop. But in 2025, that bet has gone spectacularly wrong. The local housing market hasn't just cooled, it's frozen solid, and now the cracks are spreading fast. According to a mid-2025 report from the Las Vegas Realtors Association, the median price for a single-family home in North Las Vegas has plunged 22% year-over-year. That's not a correction. That's a collapse. What's driving this implosion? The very builders who fueled the boom in the first place. They overbuilt, oversold, and overpromised. And now they're fighting each other in a brutal price war to survive. Drive through any new subdivision and you'll see the signs everywhere. Huge builder incentives. We'll cover your closing costs. Rate buydowns available. Translation: we're desperate. Please take this house. Zillow's data backs it up. Nearly 40% of all listings in North Las Vegas have already seen price cuts. Imagine closing on your dream home for $500,000, only to see the exact same model next door being offered for $400,000 6 months later. That's not just a financial hit. That's an emotional gut punch. Your investment goes negative before you've even hung your first picture frame. This is what happens when housing stops being treated as a basic need and becomes a mass-produced commodity. Developers built homes for a buyer that no longer exists, flooding the market with inventory nobody can afford. So here's the haunting question. Which is worse? The quiet, creeping dread of watching your neighborhood lose value day after day, or the public humiliation of seeing your builder slash prices right in front of you while you're still paying full price for the same house? Either way, in North Las Vegas, the gamble is over. And this time, the house definitely lost. Number 3. Henderson, Nevada Drive. Just a few miles southeast from the chaos of North Las Vegas, and suddenly the scenery changes completely. The half-finished construction sites and dusty lots fade away, replaced by lush parks, picture-perfect communities, and streets so clean they look staged. Welcome to Henderson, the polished, prestigious suburb that was supposed to be bulletproof. This is the crown jewel of the Las Vegas Valley, the city that made its name on stability, safety, and sophistication. It's home to doctors, attorneys, casino executives, and retirees who thought they'd found the one place in Nevada immune to market chaos. For years, Henderson was marketed as the sure thing, a fortress of luxury and security amid the volatility of Vegas. But in 2025, that illusion has shattered. According to CoreLogic's mid-year risk report, Henderson's housing market isn't just cooling, it's in a full-blown nosedive. The median home price has plunged 26% year-over-year. Let that sink in. A 26% drop in what was once considered one of the safest real estate markets in the country. And this isn't a working-class neighborhood taking the hit. It's the upper middle class watching their wealth evaporate. The luxury sector has been hit hardest. Homes priced above $800,000 are now sitting idle, collecting dust and for sale signs. Redfin's data shows that over half of those listings have already undergone at least one major price cut, some by 6 figures. Here's the cruel irony. Even as your home's value freefalls, the cost of living in Henderson keeps climbing. This city is run by homeowners associations, and those pristine lawns and gated entries come with a price. HOA fees, which often top $400 to $600 a month, aren't slowing down. They're rising. So while you're watching your home's value sink by a quarter or more, you're still paying handsomely to keep the neighborhood looking flawless. It's the definition of a gilded cage, polished, perfect, and financially suffocating. You can't sell without taking a massive loss, but you can't afford to stay without bleeding cash. So here's the real question. At what point does a safe investment stop being a dream home and start feeling like a luxury prison? Number 2. Reno, Nevada. You leave the parched heat of southern Nevada behind and head north, tracing the long stretch of desert highway back to where this entire Nevada Renaissance began. Welcome to Reno, the so-called biggest little city in the world. For nearly a decade, Reno worked tirelessly to shed its old image of smoky casinos and neon grit, rebranding itself as the next Silicon Valley of the West. And for a while, it worked. Tech startups moved in. Californians flooded across the border. Real estate developers couldn't build fast enough. Money poured into the valley, and Reno became a symbol of reinvention, a city reborn. But here's the painful truth. That reinvention is unraveling fast. The dream has turned into a data-driven nightmare. According to a Fitch Ratings market analysis, Reno now sits in the highest risk category for a housing correction nationwide. Their models predict that in a meaningful economic downturn, which by mid-2025 we are clearly in, home prices could collapse by as much as 35% from peak to trough. And that's not a hypothetical. The decline is already happening. Data from the Reno Sparks Association of Realtors shows year-to-date price drops exceeding 30% in several zip codes. In less than a year, tens of billions in housing wealth have simply evaporated. The engine that powered Reno's rise, tech jobs and remote work, has seized up. Major employers have cut staff, and those digital nomads who once fueled the boom are relocating to cheaper, more stable markets. Reno, once marketed as a refuge for innovators, is now littered with for-sale signs from disillusioned investors and burned-out homeowners. According to Zillow, housing inventory has more than doubled, and homes are now sitting on the market for over 100 days on average. Investor-owned properties, Airbnbs, rental flips, speculative buys, are flooding the listings, dragging prices down even further. This is what happens when a city builds its identity on hype instead of fundamentals. Reno sold itself as a mountain version of Silicon Valley, but without the infrastructure, income base, or staying power to sustain it. What's left is a harsh reminder. You can't build lasting wealth on branding alone. The people who believed in that tech-fueled dream aren't just losing money. They're losing faith in the future they were promised. And that might be the cruelest kind of crash of all, the one that doesn't just erase your equity but shatters your hope. Number 1. Las Vegas, Nevada. And here we are, the final stop, the grand finale, and the beating heart of America's housing delusion. Welcome to Las Vegas, the city that never seems to learn its lesson. It's the same glittering mirage it's always been, built not on rock or reason, but on sand, speculation, and the blind belief that this time will be different. Spoiler alert, it's not. According to Moody's Analytics, which tracks financial risk for some of the world's largest investors, Las Vegas has become the highest-risk housing market in the nation. Their 2025 models warn of a potential 40% price collapse from peak to trough under current conditions. Let that sink in. 40%. That's not a gentle market correction. That's a wipeout on par with the 2008 crash that left entire neighborhoods in foreclosure and an entire generation burned. You can feel it in the city's pulse. The euphoric buzz of the boom has vanished, replaced by something colder, uneasy silence. The latest report from the Las Vegas Realtors Association shows housing inventory has surged by a staggering 150% year over year. At the same time, buyer demand has fallen off a cliff. Homes are sitting empty for months, and price cuts have gone from rare adjustments to standard operating procedure. But this isn't just bad luck. It's the predictable hangover from years of reckless speculation. Las Vegas's housing market was pumped full of artificial demand from institutional investors, flippers, and Airbnb landlords who treated family homes like poker chips in a high-stakes game. For a while, the gamble paid off. But when tourism slowed and short-term rental profits dried up, the same investors who fueled the frenzy started dumping properties en masse. The result? A supply tsunami that the local market can't possibly absorb. Prices are plunging, builders are slashing deals, and ordinary families who bought at the peak are watching their equity evaporate in real time. It's a cruel twist of fate. The people who believed in stability are paying the price for everyone else's speculation. So let's be honest. Buying a house in Las Vegas right now isn't an investment. It's a bet, and not a smart one. The house always wins here, and this time, the house is the collapsing market itself. So there you have it. Our journey through Nevada, a state built on illusion. From gold mining towns to desert suburbs, from retirement enclaves to luxury high-rises, the story never really changes. The foundation is cracked, the hype has faded, and the reality is hitting hard. Now I want to hear from you. Is this just a painful but normal correction? Or has Nevada's entire housing model been broken beyond repair? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you appreciate straight talk over sales talk, hit that subscribe button, because the truth, unlike this market, is not for sale.